This is Marvel Universe, Greatest Battles comic pack, Gambit and Mr. Sinister, part of Wave 4 of 2011. I think it's Wave 11 overall, Series 3, 2011. So, I really like this set. I did a review on this a few weeks back when I first started the channel, but I was looking at some of my older reviews and I think it could be a lot better. I was taking real long to say something, and I've just become much more efficient at it, saying the same amount of stuff in shorter period of time. So I'm just gonna go through. I like this set so much that I wanted to give them a better review. I'm gonna be doing that with some of the other ones that I think are really good sets and deserve a better review. Anyway, so these guys are super in demand. I can almost guarantee you're not gonna find them in retail. Maybe comic shops, but your best bet is online. They're really expensive though. I'll get to them in a second. Let me look at the packaging. I really like the 2-pack packaging. It's got great art on it. I just love the design of it. It's really nice. Picture of the figures on the back with a small bio or a story about their battle, and figures from the rest of the wave. And of course it comes with a comic. The cover is from X-Men 1, the X-Men reboot in the early 90s, but it's actually X-Men Origins Gambit. I really don't like the X-Men Origins books because they show up a big story into like 1 or 2 issues. And this one isn't an exception. Basically, Gambit goes to Mr. Sinister because he's having trouble controlling his powers, and Sinister operates or whatever, and he basically gives him he turns down his power set, giving him more control. And then Gambit owes him, so he puts together a team of mutants for him called the Marauders, and the Marauders end up massacring the Morlocks in the sewers. And Gambit feels real remorse about it, and he starts helping people out. He helps out a young Storm and blah blah blah. That's how he ends up on the team. Anyway, okay, so we'll start with Gambit. He comes with the staff, that's it, no cards. This is not his stand, this is a stand from a G.I. Joe. I like this guy a lot. It is a repaint from the X-Men Origins Gambit, and when I heard they were doing a Gambit, I was so excited. He's always been one of my favorites. And I saw a picture of him online, and I said, oh, it's just a repaint of that X-Men Origins one. That was one of the better ones from that line, but just wasn't that great. So I was kind of bummed about that because he's got bad articulation, but once I got it, I was immediately excited again. The paint application on this one is so much better, and it pretty much, for me, I don't mind that it's a repaint. So, the source of his costume is from his mini-series where he has the scarf, but he's basically wearing the same costume since he first came out decades ago. So let's look at the sculpt. I really like this sculpt. The only problem is the articulation. I mean, it is a really nice sculpt. It's just the articulation again. Hasbro could have at least added some articulation. Gambit's such a popular character, and why couldn't they have just made a repaint? I mean, why couldn't they just made a new mold, or at least added articulation? Anyway, alright. So the jacket is probably the best part about him. It's really nice. It's a really nice sculpt, and the paint on it is really nice too. The paint on him is amazing. It's a nice muddy brown, and it's got this, the shading and the creases and a darker brown, and it just looks really great. The buttons on it are flawless. It is removable, but the arms will still have the jacket on it. The jacket arms are actually part of the sculpt, so you could take the jacket off, but it would look kind of silly. His armor is really nice. I like his armor. That's what his pink stuff is around him. It's armor and his boots. He doesn't have any super invulnerability or anything, so he needs armor. And the paint on that is really nice. The paint on the X-Men Origins one was just bleh. But this is a real nice metallic-y pink, and it's got great silver around it. The paint on his shin armor is really nice. Real nice metal paint, and then a lot of really realistic looking metal shading on it. Really nice. And the mold in those feet is great with all the little pieces of his armor. It looks fantastic. Basic black pants with the pink squares. Really nice. His head is amazing. I love his head sculpt with the longer hair. That's definitely a more recent Gambit look. And the paint on his, look at that hair. It's really nice. Nice brown and black shading to it. Looks really dark and mysterious. And his eyes, his face paint is just flawless. Let me get you a closer look. Look at those eyes, those black eyes of his. They look perfect. I mean, there's not a single flaw in his face paint. If I had to guess what quality control issues would be, it would be the eyes and the lines around the mask. But I can't think of any more that there might be. This is the only one I've seen in person, so I can't really testify to that. The scarf is really cool. That's removable too, but he looks way better with it on. One more thing about the jacket. It's really nice because they made it, I guess, sort of being blown in the wind, and it's kind of poofs out around his legs, so his legs aren't trapped in that jacket. A lot of times when they have, tunics or jackets or capes like that, the legs get trapped inside, and it pretty much, renders the articulation useless. Not that he has the best articulation down there. It's just such a nice sculpt. He is really small though. In the comics, Gambit is 6'1", but I mean, this figure is really small, especially for a Marvel Universe figure. Here he is next to Wolvie, and this is one of the smallest Marvel Universe figures there are, and he's barely taller than him. This is like a medium figure, and he's shorter than him. He's so small. He shouldn't be this small. Like I said, he's 6'1". All right, anyway, let's move on to the articulation. He does have decent articulation when it's compared to other figure lines, but with Marvel Universe, no, he needs way better articulation than that. He's such a dynamic character, he needs to get in really dynamic poses, but he just can't. So he's got a ball jointed head, swivels left and right, swivels 360, but he can't because of the collar of his duster. Ball hinge shoulders, swivel 360 and it bends. Ball hinge elbow, swivel 360 and that bends. No articulation in the wrist. That's something that they should have added. Why not? He's got, I think it might be a ball hinge chest, but it basically just swivels. Ball jointed hips. He's got a swivel of thigh. He does have a double jointed knee, which is nice, and no articulation in the ankles. Like I said, Hasbro could have, they could have and should have made such a better figure than this, and they could have, if they were gonna do a repaint, at least have added some articulation. Come on, we're way past this type of articulation. We're way past that point. So, all in all, I was disappointed at first when I heard about it, but when I got it, the paint is so nice that I'm fine. I'm fine with it. I just wish that they could have added articulation, but he's a very nice figure. I really like him a lot. Alright, let's go on to Sinister. Sinister is a really nice figure too. I mean, he definitely looks like Sinister. He's got, they nailed the cape. That's something that I would guess is really hard to do. And just his costume, it looks great. His head especially, I love that head. Anyway, let's take a closer look at him. He comes with a cape. I don't know if you consider that accessory or not, but he does come with his cape. It's two-toned, black and blue metallic on one side, and then a red on the other side. It's really nice. He's got that trademark Sinister collar, and they did a really good job. Sinister's cape kind of flows out, like a peacock or something in the comics, and they really nailed that. I'm glad they didn't make it a soft goods cape, because it wouldn't have done that. It wouldn't have flown right. So they really nailed that cape, and the paint in it is superb. Real nice metallic-y blue and black wash. Okay, so Sinister, the mold on him, he is the Colossus mold. I believe he's the giant size Colossus because he has the little boot tops. But I'm happy with it. Sinister does have a little piecey, striped kind of costume like this, and it really doesn't look that recycled. I mean, it doesn't look like a metal man on him. He just looks like Sinister in his awesome costume. And he's huge. Sinister's really big. He has complete control over his body mass. So, he is really tall. And the paint on it is so nice. real nice shine to it, and the striped bits that would have been metal on Colossus have real nice. I mean, the inside is black, and then it's got a nice bluish metallic over it, and it's got great shading and dry brushing and washing throughout the entire thing. It's got a lot of texture to it. Looks really pretty. Same thing throughout the entire legs, and his shins, his boots. You can see it very well. Very nice paint on his boots. Of course, he's got the Sinister belt, which is really cool. A nice little pop of red highlight in there. I really like that. And the diamond on his chest gives it a nice touch. It's got the, I'm not sure if the giant size Colossus has these shoulder things, but they look really nice on him. He's got great muscle definition in his back, and he's got a nice butt. His butt looks good, and I think one of the best things about him is his head sculpt. That is what Sinister's head looked like. Like I said, he's got that complete control over his body mass. So if he wants a buzz cut, it's gonna look perfect like that. He can make himself look however he wants to. It's really nice, and the paint on there. I mean, it's a pure white. You can't get any whiter than that. And the black bits in his eyes and his little eye, I don't know, sockets. It's really nice. Even his goatee is just spot on there, and his lips look great. And the diamond in his forehead. I mean, the paint on these two figures are flawless. So nice. Oh man, I can't get over these figures, how nice their paint and molds are. So like I said, he's huge. He's the same mold as Colossus, so we all know that Colossus is big. I mean, he's gigantic. He just towers over Gambit. I just wish that Gambit wasn't so small. Okay, here he is next to Sunfire, who's a medium-sized Marvel Universe character. He is like so much taller than him. He's next to Odin from the Thor line. He's a pretty tall figure, and he's even taller than him. I mean, he's huge. He's such a big figure. I really like that. I'm really happy with both of these figures. I just wish there was better articulation. There is one problem with this figure. The same thing happens with Colossus. Is his right leg. If you bend it up and then out, it comes right off. The left leg doesn't really. I mean, it does do that if you play with it a lot, but it doesn't really pop out so easily like this one. I tried fixing it on my Colossus one by putting glue on the ball joints in there, and it helped a bit, but it still comes off. I haven't tried to fix this one yet. Anyway, articulation-wise, he's got great articulation, just like Colossus. He's got a ball-jointed head which sits on a hinge, so he can swivel 360, look up, down, and then move his neck back or forward. He's got ball-jointed shoulders, swivel 360, and it bends, swivel at the bicep, simple hinge elbow, swivel wrists, ball-jointed chest, so that swivels 360, and he can create great movement like that. No articulation at the waist. Ball-jointed hips, a swivel thigh, double-jointed knee, and a ball hinge foot, so that can swivel 360, kick down and up, just like that. So he's got really nice articulation. I just wish I could say the same for Gambit. Alright, so should you get these figures? If you're an X-Men fan, definitely get them. They're really nice figures overall, and they're just great X-Men figures. I am a huge X-Men fan. That's pretty much, I've read that since I was 10, and I'm going to keep reading it, and I'm really happy with these. I really am. If you're like a casual Marvel Universe collector, I would still get them, just because, I mean, there's no other 4-inch figures like these that are this nice looking. So, I mean, yeah, I would totally get them. I mean, if you absolutely hate the X-Men, I mean, then I guess not, but I guess I don't need to tell you that. But they're really nice. I mean, I can get over Gambit's articulation problems because the mold is nice and the paint is amazing. He just looks so nice. And Sinister, I don't have any problems with the mold except for that leg thing. But, I mean, he's just a great figure too. The paint on him is so nice. He looks so natural. And the cape, I mean, they nailed it. I'm very happy with this set. Very happy. Let me give you a couple more close-ups just because of how nice it is. Look at that jacket, is so nice. Oh, one other thing about Gambit is the peg holes on his feet don't really fit any stands I have that well, so that's kind of annoying, but not a deal breaker. The G.I. Joe stands are the best because they're the biggest pegs. Alright, well, I hope you find this helpful. Right now I'm reviewing lots of X-Men figures, and my favorite. So I'm going to be reviewing lots of X-Men figures with some Star Wars thrown in there and some Pursuit of Cobra. I will get around the Transformers. So again, I hope you found this helpful. And until next time, keep collecting.